Today's adventure begins heading down Highway 150 out of Bloomington, Illinois to a little town by the name of LeRoy. Population 3,600.
Being from Mississippi, born and raised, I had been in snow before. But when I came up here, I had never really seen real snow. So one morning, that first winter, I woke up, turned on the radio, and they said that the interstate was closed. The interstate's about 1.5 miles out to our right. They said the interstate was closed, all the county roads were closed. And that did not compute in my mind. I looked out our bedroom window. All the streets by our house were plowed and clean. So I got in the car and I drove around town. I don't believe that. I mean, I can drive around town. Why are all the highways closed? And I drove out to the city limit sign, which we're parked at right now. This picture, I'm coming in from the town, coming out this way. And all of a sudden, the plows stopped plowing the snow at the city limit sign. So here in the road was a 5 or 6 wind-blown bank of snow. I couldn't believe it. I stopped, I got out of the car, I stood up on the railing of the car, and I took a camera. I said, they're not going to believe this back in Mississippi. All you could see was a sea of snow, and the only thing you could see was all the telephone poles sticking up out of the snow down the side of the highway.
Trusty umbrella, even though it is very windy. This is downtown LeRoy. City Hall. Town and City Hall there. The Performing Arts Center has some memories. We're going to go up out of the elements under this gazebo, which has been here since our day. Welcome, everyone. Adam the Woo here with my dad. You know, what day is this?
Today is Monday, the 17th of May.
What day of our road trip? Recording of this is Monday.
This is day 8.
Day number 8 of our lengthy road trip. Father and son.
Somebody's a father.
Somebody and someone's road trip. We moved here from Commerce, Oklahoma, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
We have not been going in chronological order. We've been going in order of
Geography
order. So I'm inviting you to join me on day number 8.
And me.
Shall you?
Now this is a photo of the gazebo. We're standing on the floor of the gazebo right at the moment. This, of course, was a shot in the winter time. And during the summer, they would have band concerts. For a few weeks out of the summer, the band director here at the high school would gather an impromptu group of musicians, and people would gather on the lawn out here with their blankets and their chairs, and they'd have a concert. It wasn't professional by any stretch of the imagination, but it was enjoyable and pleasing. People came out for that and enjoyed the evening together.
You said there was a famous artist that performed here too.
Thank you for reminding me of that. Yes, one summer, Carl Perkins came to town, and that was the corner. They had a stage set up out there, and he had his band, and of course the whole town came out, all 3,600 people.
I wonder if when we left, that the population on the sign changed.
I doubt it.
What year did we leave?
We left, we left the summer of 1981.
And we went from Commerce to here, and then from here to where?
We moved to Panama City.
Panama City.
And then, of course, you remember the earlier video, we went from Panama City to Pensacola.
Yep.
And that's where your sister was born that December.
The church is obscured by this tree.
Yes, that was just a seedling.
A seedling tree! Seems to have subsided for a moment, so leaving the gazebo, here it is from this angle, water tower off in the distance, and walking to match up a photograph that Dad took way back in the day, right over here in the road, of the church building. Now the LeRoy Performing Arts and Media Center. Corner of South Main Street and East Center Street West. Boy, it is gusty out here. There's a little bit of a gale force winds.
Hold on to your hats and umbrellas, boys and girls. All right, this is the angle we were at. There's the telephone pole, you can see is still there. And I guess maybe just a little further back, there's the street sign, which is right here.
Sure is. If you had to guess, when did you take that picture?
That may have been the winter that we moved here. Very possible.
Which would have been 70...
78.
78.
Early 78, maybe March or April.
You have returned to the same spot.
Yes, yes.
Look at that.
And, I still have all the stained glass.
Go up a little closer and take a look at the stained glass. There's another photo of the building as well. We're in the picture up front. Now this is dated 1980, so this photograph must have been about a year later. We were here for 2 or 3 years?
Years, so I was here for about 3.5 years, yeah. Now that's you and me and your mom on the front steps, those front steps right up there. And of course, the city, when they bought the property.
Is that me sitting?
That's you sitting right there.
Right there on the stairs.
Squatting right down.
Squatting down while you and Mom, you look very cold. Mom looks like she has a heavy jacket on.
And gloves.
You have a heavy jacket on. Yeah. I was probably running around over to the gazebo. You probably said, get over here, we're taking a photo.
Something like that.
Get up on the steps.
And the city, of course, has taken the cross off of the building.
Oh, they sure have.
Yeah.
It is no longer
a church building.
That the congregation has moved onto the outskirts of town.
Yeah, they built a new property. We'll go by and see that. They built a new building.
In front of church, 1980, in LeRoy.
How about that?
Directly across from the obscured gazebo behind, what was that tree when we were here?
A little seedling.
It was a seedling. We had hoped to go inside the town and city hall and ask if there was anyone that could let us in the building. However, with a lot of these small towns, you don't see anyone. It is early enough where no one has arrived. Well, I say that, we should maybe walk over there and see if there is someone there. Maybe there's no one parked in front of it. There was no one inside, but noticing this mural where it says, "Welcome to LeRoy, Illinois," up here are all the other LeRoys in the U.S., including Texas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Alabama, Iowa, and others. Pretty ingenious idea to show. Are there more on the other side?
Kansas, Michigan, New York.
Sure is. Wow, quite a few. I can just picture a youthful myself sitting right here on this step, looking across at the park over there. No idea who was taking the photo in the road. Nonetheless. Now the way this is set up, if you can't get in, which doesn't look like we're going to, there's no way to really peek in and see anything, because when you look through there's a brick wall. You have to go up a set of stairs to the auditorium in the foyer.
Yes. Yes, that's the way it was. Down this way you go into the basement, up this way you go up and turn left and go into the sanctuary. There's another entrance into the building also, around on this other side.
It looks as if the signage is still up here. There's a word for this, marquee. Now there's some lettering there, LE, which most likely was LeRoy. Don't know what the other E is. We could have a Wheel of Fortune moment here. But could these be the lettering from way back in the day, and they just...
As rusty as they look.
All rusted out.
Some of the original letters. I would periodically put a message in there, not every week or anything. And then we had 2 flags. Flew the American flag and we flew a Christian flag.
Up these poles. Same poles.
Same poles, yep. These bushes were just little seedlings then.
They were seedlings. And for posterity, I'm now documenting them after they've grown.
Yes.
Posterity, seedlings, and we are a little hazy on the details are some of the common phrases of this trip so far.
One thing we did not have at this building was a gymnasium here.
We did not have a gymnasium room.
No.
And sometimes you would get here early before elders and deacons because you preferred to handle your work
alone.
alone.
In the dark.
Anyone hiding there in the dark?
Now this was another entrance, and people would park on various streets around, and some would come in this door, some would come in the other door. These two windows here are the windows of where my office used to be.
The top floor or the second?
The first floor here.
Now that window is broken. That window is shattered out.
Yeah, it sure looks like it.
The stained glass is still intact, but the outer section of the window, there's a screen that is not broken. The screen is pulled up.
Now through this entrance door, those double doors there are open, and you can see into, of all things, the alcove area of this building. It was kind of an overflow type area. And yonder you can see another open door, and behind it another stained glass window. That's where you went in to go into the baptistry area. And over to the left over here was the main auditorium, main sanctuary area.
There was a balcony.
There was.
I recall a balcony.
Those steps there on the right going up goes up to the balcony. These steps on the right going down goes down into the basement. All right, this is a photo that was taken of me in my office. We just showed you the windows to my office. It's very possible that stained glass window behind me is the very window Adam was talking about that's now somewhat dilapidated and so forth. Notice how young I used to be.
You had this eagle. Do you still have that eagle?
You know, I don't think I do.
A ceramic eagle.
I had it
eagle. A ceramic eagle that is not evil. Mom used to take ceramics. She might have made that eagle.
It's very possible.
You had that for years and years.
Yeah, I did.
And here's the balcony.
Here's some shots of the interior of the building. This is
and the way we know it is because here you wrote LeRoy Church Building. In case your memory failed you,
yes,
you would have this written down.
This is a separate photograph. This is the balcony area. This stairwell is that stairwell right there. This stairwell is that stairwell on the right hand side.
Up.
Yep. And
right
this
over there. Well, it's like, yep, I can't really get at that. That's why I didn't want to show it. But there we go. Hold on 1 second. It's not. There we go. There we go. Sometimes when you turn the camera quickly like that, it focuses in on the dirt on a window.
Yes. All right, here, this angle of the main auditorium, there's the pulpit area. Sorry, fingers. There's the pulpit area. There's the main area of the sanctuary.
There's the stained glass.
And this is viewing from the alcove area.
Okay.
Okay. Now,
there's pews. So there's the balcony.
This is from the stage area.
Okay, there's these windows. Now, which windows we should show where those windows would be?
That would be these windows on our left-hand side right here.
Okay, gotcha.
Is that door right there?
Okay.
The double door, the wooden doors.
Right over there.
Yep. This is a separate picture over here now. There's the balcony at the top. And this is taken from behind the pulpit. And there is the Christian flag inside.
Wow.
Yeah.
I do recall that vaguely. The setup.
Actually, let me correct myself. A vague memory is coming more clearly now. This is the alcove. This was taken straight on, and then I turned and took this picture of the alcove.
Okay.
And this plate glass window thingy, that went into my secretary's office, which then went into my office. This double door right here is that door right there.
That's a heater. Right there on the side. It's a heater.
That is a radiator.
A radiator.
Radiator heater.
The old radiator ploy.
Yes,
hey.
Yes. And this building had no central heat and air.
So that's why the radiator heater.
That's what the radiators were, and we had to use box fans during the summer. Box fans on the floor. The convenience store on the corner down here, and I would walk down there and get me a Diet Coke.
Over on the corner.
Yep.
And you still drink Diet Coke to this day on occasion.
Yes.
Probably not as much as you used to.
Maybe.
It goes in ebbs and flows.
There you go. Ebbs and flows. Yes, yes.
You've heard of town squares. This would be a town circle. Really is. When you think of Americana, this would be true Americana right here.
This is a town round.
A town round. Yeah, okay. A town round. 20 miles per hour. Around the loop. Town round. I like that. See what we got here. Right about here?
That's pretty close.
Okay. That big tree, it was definitely, there was a lot more trees as well back then. A lot more trees in the distance there. Some of the trees and the picnic tables have been added, but that's the angle with the building in the back. Look at that.
I like that.
Now see, you focused more on the gazebo.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, look over here very closely. There is the sign that we were standing over there. That is the signage from the marquee over there. Right there in frame. That's neat. There it is.
Yes.
Okay, from here we'll go by a couple other places. We'll go by our home.
Yeah.
And a few other spots.
Yep.
The old theater, the Princess Theater, recently restored. Talked to a gentleman in town that pulled over and told us a few things. Said one of his friends restored this. Looking pretty good.
Yeah, we went to some movies there. Yeah.
Saw a few movies.
Yeah.
Modern day, this is what the building looks like. It has moved here about a mile away, maybe even less than a mile, half mile away. And this was way after our time. Dad said no connection to this building, except for the name of where he used to pasture at.
And I did visit here one time when I was on a truck driving trip.
Okay, so you've been in there.
I've been in the building, yeah. And that's some of the old members and so forth and so on.
So you have a visitor connection, but you don't have any other connection.
Yes. This was built long after I left.
Okay, we're going to circle around, go back over to where we used to live, at our former home. Ah, yes. It's all coming back to me now. Boy, it is very, very windy. Got some photos here. Take a look at the one of me on the front porch in my cowboy hat.
Lone Ranger.
I did like the Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger.
That is up on that very porch, now obscured by that tree, and the posts have been redone. The entire porch has been redone.
Yeah, they've removed the wrought iron posts and are putting up those wooden posts.
You went through a photography phase, so you took a lot of photographs.
I did.
Of me up on that porch. Oh, here's another one.
This is from the front door looking out to where we're standing out here.
We're standing right over here on that very corner, so on those cross streets is where we are at the moment. It's kind of an action shot as well.
Yep.
Let's kind of walk over this way just a bit. House has been repainted, and there were a line of other trees here which have obviously been removed, where I learned to ride a bicycle.
There you are.
Through here. The first time I ever rode a bike, and you could see you were guiding me, holding on. Training wheels had been removed.
Yeah.
And you were my training wheels. You were teaching me how to ride a bike.
Teaching
right
you
there.
to ride.
These this week, so
The poles here?
Yeah, I just put these up because the beams were all rotted.
Oh.
So I was taking stuff down and yeah.
Yeah, because they used to be the wrought iron.
Yeah. It's still sitting right out there. The wrought iron.
Oh, no way. There it is. Yeah, look at that.
It is. Wow. Yeah, you still got the handrail there.
Wow. That's probably the original wrought iron.
The post, but the railing.
Yeah. That's over there in the side yard right now.
How about that?
How neat.
It's nice of him to let us go inside.
Yeah. Used to have a garden around the backyard.
Sure did.
I took a beanbag down these very stairs.
The problem was the beanbag didn't make it all the way down the stairs. You did.
I did.
The beanbag made it down 4 steps. All right, upstairs was a window that faced north. These folks next door had a TV antenna, right? So it's late night. I think maybe I woke up in the middle of the night for some reason, and I walk out and I look out that window, now the second story window, and I see these flashing lights. And the first thing that pops in my head, it's a UFO. So I go up to the window and I look out, and it's just, the lights are going like around the circular sphere, like a saucer. So I wake up your mom. I said, you got to come see this. Nobody's going to believe it. You got to come confirm this. So she comes and she's looking and she's looking and she's puzzled, and I said, stay here, watch it, don't let it get away. I'm going to go get my camera. I go down and get my 35mm camera. I come back, take 2 or 3, 4 pictures. I said, stay here. She still hadn't said anything. She said, I said, stay here. I'm going to go outside and get another angle. So I come down the stairs, go down this way, go out the back door, and I look up and it's gone. I'm just disheartened. I come back, climb back up the stairs. I said, is it still here? She said, yeah, it's still there. And there it is. And the lights are just flashing back and forth. 2 or 3 more pictures. Finally, she says, that is not a flying saucer. I said, well, what is it then? She said, that's the Star of Bethlehem. I said, you are crazy. That's not the Star of Bethlehem. That's a flying saucer out there. Finally, after a few more minutes of silence, she said, that is not a flying saucer. She said, that is our neighbor's TV antenna. And with that comment, she politely turned around and went back to bed. And I stood there, speechless, as I looked and focused more intently on icicles hanging down from the bars of my neighbor's TV antenna, the wind blowing, causing this street light to reflect back and forth on those icicles. That was my flying saucer.
Doesn't look like the UFO's over there anymore. UFO is gone. Yeah, this is the same poles right here. This is the railing here.
Yep.
My goodness, look at that. That is incredible. Can you find that picture?
Which
Once
picture?
again, the one of the standing on the porch with the railing.
Hang on. Yeah, it's here. Yeah, that's there.
Look at that.
That's the railing right there.
Sure is. Okay, so this.
And there's that. There's the post. There's the
Yep. Wow.
wrought iron post and the railing.
Incredible.
And there you are.
Once again, a big thank you to the property owner for letting us come in. We didn't go upstairs into all the rooms, but just wanted to tell that story and show the staircase where I went down on the beanbag chair. Goodness.
She would have been standing over by the house.
Probably like over in that
And
corner.
this is the intersection right here behind us.
Sure is. So there's those bigger trees I was saying has been removed.
There's that house over there with the white over here.
Looks like one of the trees is still there along the line. But the house you're talking about is over here.
Yeah, there were 2 big trees right here, as you can see. This is right by the street sign. Here
Yeah.
and here.
Wow. I think there's also a photograph of me in the backyard. Where Dad's standing is where more or less this photo was taken. And you can see, I walked over here to show the side yard of this house, which is right there. So this photograph, well, you know what? It might be that tree there that's now grown up. Wow, look at that. That tree is that very tree right there.
Yeah, your mom was standing over yonder to take the picture. You were careening over right here.
Wow. So cool. You have these photographs. In the summertime, it was a garden, but in the wintertime, I would build snowmen. That's a pretty good, you probably built that and I took the photo.
Yeah,
I helped a little
a
bit.
little bit.
But that is right around this back section here. You have the garden.
These are rhubarb vines, plants. We had rhubarb. I never had rhubarb before in my life.
Rhubarb pie. I've had it a couple times since then, but rhubarb was very prominent in our Illinois years. Not too far away was the pool, and there were some tennis courts. Tennis courts have been removed, or the tennis courts are underneath the new facade of this building they built over there. But would swim in that pool quite often.
No, I don't think the tennis courts are inside. I think because the tennis courts are actually on the corner, the left-hand corner back over here.
Okay, so tennis courts are gone.
I think that might be a gymnasium.
A gymnasium, Lorian. Now, do you think this is the same pool?
I believe it is.
Forgot to show this one. There you are. I was going to say you're holding a piping hot caffeinated beverage, but it's not. It's a Tupperware container, probably with a Diet Coke in there. You're not really a big coffee drinker. But there's you in front of the house in that snow.
Sure is.
This might have been the same time when you took the photo of me with the snowman around the backyard.
Very possible.
Or, you know, it snowed a lot, so it probably wasn't the same day, but in my mind, it is. There's those railings. Look at that. That is sitting by the road now. Piece of history.
When your mom and I first came here, on the first Sunday, I got up and told this story. I told the congregation that your mom and I were having an argument about how to pronounce the name of the town. I said it was LeRoy, and she said, no, it's Leroy. And so that went back and forth for miles as we were approaching town. And we came around this very curve. I told her, I said, listen, the first business that I see open, I'm going to stop and go in, and I'm going to ask them how to pronounce the name of this place. So sure enough, we came around this curve, and here was this establishment. I pull in the parking lot, I get out, I go inside, and the lady was there. And I said, ma'am, I need you to help me out with an argument between my wife and I. I need to know, how do you pronounce the name of this place? And I want you to say it very slowly so I can get the articulation and the enunciation just perfect, so I can make sure that she understands the correct way to say the name of this place. So I said, please, very slowly. And the lady looked at me and said, Dairy Queen. And this was the Dairy Queen back in that day.
It still looks like a Dairy Queen.
It does.
You didn't even have your question wasn't answered.
And that was a joke that there were 2 or 3 people that said that to me up until we left 3 years later.
That's a good joke. Dairy Queen. That's a good one. Just on the outskirts of town, about a mile or 2 from the home, Dad went through a phase where he was taking a photography class and had to get some shots of, what do you call it, distancing?
Depth perception.
Depth perception. So I was photographed on some railroad tracks that sat right here. And now it has grown over, tracks have been removed. There's just some grass and a little walkway. Off in the distance are some grain elevators that have grown. The property has grown substantially. There were 2 grain elevators over there, but now it is a whole premises down in the distance where they've expanded.
I think so.
Awesome. We've been driving down this stretch for just a bit along the side of the field, and one of these side roads on the opposite side of the fields was a house that we spent a lot of time at. My mom and dad has some close friends that went there, and I recall it was the first time after going over for you guys playing cards or board games at your friends that we stayed after midnight. And as a young person, it was the first time I stayed up past midnight. We went out and Mom said, it's after midnight. I thought, that's when the monsters come out, after midnight. I've never been up post midnight. That was somewhere along in here, but we cannot find the house. We have searched. Still the library?
It is still the city library.
No kidding.
Yep.
JT and EJ Crumbaugh.
Crumbaugh.
Right here in LeRoy or LeRoy?
Leroy.
Dairy Queen. The vlog is over. And last, certainly not least,
it was very common on a snowy day, which was very often here in Leroy. We would come out here to this embankment at the interstate interchange and slide down the snowy bank.
Is that me right there sliding?
That's you sliding down on a piece of cardboard. And there you are sliding down on the snow. I was at the bottom somewhere taking a picture.
That is cool.
Wow.
Great.